The ongoing humanitarian crisis and disaster in Gaza is heart-wrenching for everyone. We know how important it is to get aid into Gaza to help families, the innocents, the civilians, the people who have been devastated by the past few months, facing starvation, facing instability and uncertainty. We know we need to continue to be there for them. At the same time, there are serious allegations being followed up by the United Nations, and we're going to continue to move thoughtfully forward, but our priority will always be being there to protect innocent lives. We have ministers right now in the Middle East engaging on the ground with partners, looking at all the things that Canada can do and should do. We've been talking about airlifts lately. We need to get more aid into Gaza. We all recognize that. We're not making any announcements today, but we will continue to make sure Canada does the right thing in this situation and puts the protection of civilian life at the forefront of everything we do. When we began our investments in UNRWA after a previous government had suspended them, we put in significant conditions and assurances about where and how that funding was to be used. We will continue to ensure that the funding, any funding we get on humanitarian issues anywhere around the world is used to protect the most vulnerable. We will continue to look at this situation. We will continue to watch the UN as it looks into what's happening within this organization. Nobody can remain indifferent to the suffering and the anguish going on in Gaza right now, this loss of civilian lives and the impact on Canadian families and people who are worried about their loved ones is entirely understandable. Canadians have a right to protest, absolutely, to make their anguish, their anger heard by other Canadians. That's important, and we will always protect that right. But when the protests turn to hatred or to acts of harassment, particularly against fellow Canadians, there's a line that's crossed. I've heard from too many members of the Jewish community particularly who are seeing their synagogues, their community centers, their neighborhoods protested, who feel unsafe in their own country. I know Canadians have very strong feelings about this conflict, and rightly so. There are horrible things that we are seeing. But it is not who we are to take it out on our fellow Canadians. Absolutely, there are things to be outraged about, things that people need to continue to protest about. But hateful or harassing behavior, particularly against neighbors, is not what we do here in Canada. And as that happens, or when that happens, I expect Canadians, including our police authorities, to act within the rules and within the law of making sure that everyone can always feel safe everywhere in this country.